Hello everybody, the new EF2000 data mod for Falcon BMS 4.38 has just been released. In this video I will provide you with some complementary information. The EF2000 data mod is compatible with the latest build or patch standard of Falcon BMS, which is version 4.38.1.1. That means update 1 with hotfix 1 applied. So that's actually also the only prerequisite to install and use EF2000 data. So you simply install Falcon BMS 4.38.1.1 and that's everything, which is owed to the fact that the EF2000 data mod is baselined on the default Korea theater of operations included in BMS. So how do you install the EF2000 data mod? You first download the EF2000 data v1.00 zip file from the download link provided in the video description for the EF2000 data release trailer video. Alternatively, you can also visit the official EF2000 Retro Discord server. In the news and release section, you will find the corresponding announcement and download link. And also you can find it in the official Falcon BMS forums, where I have created a dedicated thread named EF2000 data for Falcon BMS 4.38. So once you have downloaded the zip file, whatever location of your computer, browse to the directory. What you can see here on the right side is the directory where the zip file is located. What you can see here on the left side, that's the data subdirectory of my Falcon BMS 4.38 installation. So in order to install EF2000 data, I am personally using the 7-zip program to manage archive files like zip files. You can also use other archive programs. What's important is that they are compatible with a zip archive format, but this should be the standard anyway. So I simply right click on this one, the context menu opens, I go to 7-zip, get a lot of options and select the extract files or extract to option. Then this window opens and you can now browse to the directory where Falcon BMS is installed. For me it's a C drive. I now select this folder, confirm it, and now I get the path displayed. And that's it already. So you have to target your Falcon BMS 4.38 main installation directory. Simply click OK, and it starts to extract the files. And on the left side you can see a new add-on EF2000 data folder is created. If that's the case, then EF2000 data is installed correctly, process is over, EF2000 data is installed. So all that you now need to do is to start the BMS launcher. This is important because the BMS launcher is checking the data subdirectory for new add-ons or removed add-ons, and then in this case you get the CADSN displayed, and we have EF2000 Delta here. In case that it's not displayed, what you can do is to browse to your tear data and CADA definition folder, and then you have the CADA LST or list file. You can open this with a text editor, and here you get the line displayed. If it's not in there, you have to add this line manually, but the prerequisite is, of course, that the add-on EF2000 data folder is located here. Typically, you don't have to do anything about it because the launcher automatically updates the CADA list. So that's no problem here. If you, for some reason, fail to extract the zip file to the correct directory, what you could do is to directly extract it here. For example, in the same directory. In this case, the folder name is the zip file's name. And when that's done, you can open it. And here's the data folder, so you can either browse to the directory above and copy paste it here in. You can also directly copy paste it on this folder as you like, or you browse to the subfolder and then you can directly move, copy paste the two folders here in. Just ensure that you are not erroneously moving, copy pasting it to a directory here, otherwise those folders will be contained in one of those folders and then nothing will work. Okay, that's it for the installation. Let's simply start EF2000 DELTA for a moment. EF2000 DELTA is conceived as a dependent add-on theater mod for Falcon BMS. That means it does not include all files required to run the theater, and it therefore sources files from other theaters, in this case KTO. EF2000 DELTA is a particularly streamlined release version. That means it has been slickened to focus primarily on the aircraft and associated weapons and on nothing else. So the main menu screen and user interface background screens or splash screens are all the same as in KTO. The same is true for the UI background music. And if you aren't sure whether you have correctly launched the theater, then you can verify this from the theater selection screen. Here you see EF2000 DELTA is selected. In this field you have some info. It's a EF2000 DELTA version 1.00 for BMS 4.38.1.1. And you of course get the theater logo. In the future, with updates being released, I will always update this information so you can also verify whether you have updated correctly. It's important to note that the BMS team recommends to not switch theaters from this menu. I suppose it doesn't work properly, so it's always recommended that you select the appropriate theater from the BMS launcher and launch the game directly with the theater. Okay, within the add-on EF2000 DELTA folder, you also have a docs folder. Here is a documentation. There's a detailed features log. You have the EF2000 cockpit guide that provides a detailed description of the cockpit itself and how it works in BMS. And you have the EF2000 DELTA user manual. I will open it because we are already in the correct section we need it for the next part. EF2000 DELTA is only including two Typhoon variants by default. This is the German Eurofighter and the British Typhoon FGR4. But provisions are included in EF2000 DELTA that allow you to replace the German and or British variants with either the Italian, Spanish and or Austrian variants. There's this aircraft data configuration table that's important. Here you have the different nations, the AC data file names. That's not that important to you, but could be in theory. You have the external aircraft model number, you have the cockpit wings model number, you have the aircraft control data record numbers, and here you see British and German variants are the default variants and the other two are optional. The process to change the aircraft is described here below. It's not too complicated, and I will simply show you how you can do this. You essentially need the editor for this step. EF2000 DELTA itself contains all the relevant provisions already. That means the external models, the cockpit wings models, and also the aircraft data files. I've also provisioned some database record entries for the same purpose, so it's not too difficult to switch the aircraft as such. So first you need to select the aircraft that you want to replace. I will take the Typhoon FGR4 as an example. Generally, I would recommend to base the Italian or Spanish variant on the British variant and the Austrian variant on the German variant of the aircraft. You can, of course, also replace the other variants if you like, but it includes a few more working steps, not much, but nevertheless. So we have the Typhoon FGR4 selected with double click, and the first thing that you need to do is to click here on the related vehicles tab in the bottom left corner, and you now get the corresponding class table record entries for the Typhoon FGR4 displayed. The first one is a normal record entry, that's for the aircraft itself. And the other four, as you can see, owners Crimson Shark, Viper Tiger, these are the 4 different teams available in dogfight mode, and that means the British Typhoon FGR4 is included in dogfight mode, and that's why you find a total of 5 related vehicles here. For the German variant, it would only be the owner normal, a simple single record only, because it's not included in the dogfight mode. Okay, so what do we need to change? The first thing that we need to change is a class data pointer aircraft data. I have prepared that one to be on record number 301 if we want to use the Italian variant in this case. So if we open the Italian variant, has the ACD record number 301, and it also has the external model number 11022. So we have the 301 selected, and now we change the model number under graphics normal from 11020 to 11022. Click on save, and now you have to repeat this process for all 5 related vehicles. So it's a little bit more work for the Typhoon FGR4, unless you say, okay, I don't mind about the Typhoon FGR4 still being displayed in dogfight mode instead of another variant. And that's it for the CT records as such. What you can do if you want is to change the vehicle name. For example, we could select EF2000A, which is the official in-service designation for the Eurofighter Typhoon single-seat variant in Italian Air Force service. And the final thing you have to do is to change the weapons. So click on the weapons tab. And you can now select the store stations, click on view and change the weapons here. For example, let's simply change SRAM for IRIS-T. And there it was. Okay, quantity is 1. If you would like to add a different weapon, let's for example take the outboard wing pylon, and you don't want to replace one weapon, you can of course also click here, and then you select the weapon, and after the weapon is selected you increase the quantity, then press save, and everything's fine. So I don't want to change all the weapons here. Just to show you how the process works, what you need to take into account is that there is a duplication, so the integrated tip station unit loadouts on slots 1 and 11, for example, use the same record entry, so you only need to edit it. For 1, it's essentially the same weapon load data number, so 258, and this is of course true for all other stations which have a left-hand, right-hand counterpart, okay? And if you have done this, that's already everything. You can now save, and we now already get the EF2000A displayed. The aircraft control data number has been updated accordingly. You can't change it here, even if the field is theoretically selectable, but you cannot edit it here, so you must do this in the CT record in order to work. So let's take a brief look here. Why is it important to update the aircraft control data? It is because it's already pointing to the corresponding aircraft data file located under SIM AC data. Each Typhoon variant has its own flight model file, the TXT PB file, and this is also important for the simple reason that the corresponding file is actually pointing to the cockpit wings model number. So with that prepared, we don't need to do anything else. In theory, you could of course simply retain the British ACD number 158 and just change aircraft data. That's also possible, but as I have shown you, you need to open all the CT records anyway to change the number. It's at the end of the day your choice. I have prepared the ACD record number specifically already, so it's in, and that's already the process. And if we would now launch the game, again selecting dogfight mode, then we should get the Italian variant showing up. It's noteworthy that the EF2000A name is used across the user interface, so in mission briefings and so on, but in the dogfight mode, in the aircraft selection list, the same as tactical engagement aircraft selection list, the name is still Typhoon FGR4, which is owed to the fact that the name in these lists is defined in a different file that's not included in the EF2000 Delta add-on. So that's not editable in this case. It would be if I would include even more files, but I wanted to avoid this. So if we simply look around, you see the correct textures for the cockpit wings model are showing up. If we zoom in, we see the Iris-T missile now as short-range missile type and the correct external model with the corresponding textures. So that's already the way how you can change the Typhoon variant if you want. It's important to note that a game mode implementation of the Euro Typhoon aircraft in the EF2000 Delta mod is exactly the same as in stock KTO, with the exception that you can fly both Typhoon variants in the instant action game mode, so the German variant for fighter sweep air-to-air and the British variant for mud moving air-to-ground. Otherwise, you have only the Typhoon FGR4 in dogfight mode. Both variants are available in the tactical engagement mode, but there are no campaign scenarios containing any EF2000 Squadrons, so you would need to add them manually. You can do this using the mission commander. And while I have made this video, I discovered some missing files, not to say a missing folder. So respect to the installation procedure for this release version, you have to copy paste one folder manually that I forgot to include, and that's the objective related data subfolder located under tier data objects. So you can simply open under data tier data objects the folder and copy paste the objective related data folder to the same subfolder under add-on EF2000 Delta. Okay, so that's required for Mission Commander to work. So now we can open Mission Commander. It by default loads the database of the theater that you have selected, and what we are now doing is to open one of the campaign save files under EF2000 Delta. It doesn't matter which one of the 4 here, I guess, because there's also one that's currently not used. It's save 5. It doesn't show up in game at the moment. This would require further edits that I don't want to do at the moment. Here you are asked whether you want to load the courier or EF2000 DELTA. We select EF2000 DELTA. This is owed to the fact that EF2000 DELTA is using the courier theater map, and in such a case you will be prompted to select the database to be loaded. And now we are able to open the units tab. All units available are included here, so you can either, in theory, just as an example, this error message can be ignored. Open one of the existing units, and then you can then change the aircraft type if you want. Sometimes the type you want is not included, so click all type if that's the case. Then you could, for example, add the Eurofighter, or as we still have the EF2000A, could select this one as well. You could edit the unit from front to end as you like. Also in terms of Squadron patch and so on. So select one among those available that suits you. And of course, alternatively, you can also go to the map, would need to zoom in, and then can, for example, select an airbase, right click and add a squadron. And then you can also directly select the aircraft you want, squadron patch, owner, and so on. In this case, I will cancel the process, so it's quite quickly and easily done to either add a new Eurofighter Typhoon Squadron in the campaign scenario you want and where you want it and which airbase you want, or replace an existing squadron if you like. So that's all with regards to the special release notes on EF2000 DELTA. And in the next video I will answer some frequently asked questions and also provide some additional background information about the EF2000 DELTA mod. So stay tuned for the next video. See you then. Bye.